Hi, I'm Michael Killen. I believe California's climate plan is the most promising climate plan on the planet. And because I believe it is so important, I have decided to interpret the plan on canvas. And on this show, we're going to discuss the plan of the state, and we're going to discuss my plan to make the paintings. And I'm normally the host, the person who asks the questions on my show, but I've asked my good friend Eddy, who is an environmental activist and who is very much concerned about the future of his grandchildren, to serve as the host and ask me questions. Jeb, thank you for coming on the show. How are you today?
My friend, just fine, except I'm worried about the environment.
Okay, yes. So, would you like to ask me some questions?
Well, as you know, I have had the privilege of visiting your studio, and looking at the paintings that you create in the context of the state of California's plan is a terrific challenge. I admire the fact that you're doing it. Tell me a bit more about the plan as you see it.
All right, California's plan. What intrigues me about it is, now you've been in business and I've been in business. We all leaders come up with plans and we try to get the troops to contribute to the plan, support it, and to help us reach the objectives and the goals. But as you know, a certain percentage of the troops, just don't get on board. They don't buy in. Now, I've looked at California's climate plan, and I've noticed that just about every county, every city, every town has bought into the plan and is executing actions every single day of the week to help support California's plan. And I've questioned, what in the world did the state do to get everybody behind it?
Well, I went to the state website earlier today, calepa.ca.gov, and I saw a lot of text. It's a very well done website, but it is text-oriented for people who will read, and it's got lots of facts. How are you thinking about trying to amplify or expand on the messages that are there?
Well, I'm pivoting to an extent on September the 12th to the 14th. That is when the governor and the state of California hold their Global Climate Action Summit. And, Jerry Brown is going to be out there and a lot of other dignitaries. And one of the things I think they're going to try to impart on the audience, both the audience who attend, as well as the press and the media worldwide, is the successes of the plan. And I am going to paint, I'm going to make a couple of paintings that capture the success and also what the state has done, what they built into their plan to generate these successes. And I measure success to some extent, as I started out, getting all the cities, all the counties, all the towns to buy in and work toward it. So I'm going to paint the success. I'm going to paint some of the not so publicized principles that the state has applied to generate that success.
Now, this sounds like a very large painting project. Are you starting cold from the beginning, or do you have some of this thinking and work already done?
Well, yeah, it is a grandiose plan, and I'm not sure if it's going to be 8 large-scale paintings or 10 large-scale paintings, but I have already announced the 2 anchor paintings of this series of paintings. And I hope my team would be kind to put up the first anchor painting. That's a 24-foot painting that we're looking at, and it's Resilience of America. And so that's one of the anchor paintings, 24 feet.
And what's the big yellow symbol going across so much of the width of that painting?
I define the sustainability of the nation, of the state, the planet, as a gigantic infinity sign. And if I have an infinity sign as the sustainability, then I can show the perturbations, the hits, the challenges against the sustainability. That's what I did in this particular painting. And the other anchor painting is sustainability itself. And maybe my team would be kind enough to put up sustainability. And as they do that, I want to make this statement. Sustainability, and I think you once said this was the first grandiose, grand painting I ever made, and I made it at the request of NASA. And sustainability is also a 24-foot painting, and there it is up there. So I already have the anchors of my California climate plan series done. And I think if you want to talk about the impact of climate change, you've got to think about the impact on the electric grid. The electric grid goes down. You know, we have significant problems, and it goes down generally two ways, by the wind or by water. So this is my painting. Gone with the wind is the electric grid. And it's done. It's already been shown. Some powerful executives and government officials have already had their photo taken with it, which makes me very proud. But it's not a 24-foot painting. It's only 15 feet long and 6 feet high. So I already have the two anchors done, and I have Gone with the Wind, the electric grid, and I wanted to look at my notes because there's a lot to remember. And the fourth painting that I'm going to include is this one, Don Quixote Fights Climate Change. I like tapping into the spirit of that great man, Don Quixote, who was willing to fight the greatest challenges of his time. I think the state of California, Jerry Brown, the legislature, they are committed to fighting more than any other state, although Washington State, Oregon, and a few other states are really also fighting hard to fight greenhouse gases, fight that greenhouse gas monster. And I'm also going to show, I can't just, again, I'm not showing any of the paintings that show, I'm going to talk about that one in a second. I'm not showing the successes. I'm more or less setting the environment. The other paintings come at a later show. The painting that just came up is The Beginning After the End. I sat back and I said to myself, what happens if we continue not to seriously address growing greenhouse gas emissions? What might happen to our civilization? It might one day come to an end, and if it did come to an end, what might happen 100,000 years, a million years later? There'd be another form of civilization form. And that painting that was up a moment ago.
Might do some cave painting in caves again.
Yes. So I think I probably have mentioned enough of the paintings that are already ready for this, but I am now about to start work on one of the also main paintings of the series. And if you want to, I believe if one wants to study California's plan or any plan, one should think about putting a plan or whatever it is in a meaningful context. And for me, the most meaningful context for California's plan to understand it is to put it in the transition from the greenhouse gas energy economy to the cleaner energy economy.
So we got to go.
So I am painting the transition from the fossil fuel economy to the cleaner energy economy. And that right now, and I know you were in a planning meeting today with us, and we agreed it would be an 18-foot long, I think 6-foot high painting, but you're more on top of the details of those kind of things than me. So that's that one I'm starting right away. Also, I've neglected waste management, and I have decided to make a painting that brings attention to 3 great challenges we face in the recycling waste management field, and that one I'll have out in a couple of months.
And we'll
And
come back here and you can show it off.
yes, and let's see.
So how is it, where are you in the thought process of sort of roughly defining what this series might look like? Do you already have some things for the end of the series, or are some points along the way, or are you still the ending, the successes of the plan as it gets implemented are yet to be formed in your mind?
Yes, how to articulate the successes. You know, I immediately think of the growth of California's economy. I think of improved health. I think of about a few other things that cleaning up the air and mitigating, for example, ocean rise. But so I'm thinking about all of that. And I'm also thinking this way, you know, I can take a look at California's climate plan, and I immediately think in terms of missions, goals, objectives, and then the different strategies involved. I'm going to pick a couple of the most important strategies. I haven't done that yet, and I will be articulating them. I think the series could be 10 large-scale paintings.
Now, are they all going to be paint on real canvas? Is there some evolution in other forms of technology that are weaving into your thinking?
Now you pointed to that, and can we mention this first? This one I'm going to name, and by the way, it's 15 feet by 6 feet. I tend to like that size. This one, a few weeks ago, I spoke to Chris Field, who is high-ranking scientist. He's from the Carnegie Institute of Sciences. He's been very close to the UN's Intergovernmental Panel on Climate. I asked him the other day, what should I paint next? And he said to me, why don't you paint what's happening now with the weather? So I decided to make this painting, which I'm going to title either Extreme Weather or You Don't Need a Weatherman to Tell Us Which Way the Climate is Blowing. So, and of course, I'll just share a couple of, I'll mention a few things. Early on, we showed the painting of Resilience of America, where I pointed out the sustainability I define as being a gigantic infinity sign. Here is that infinity sign again, but weather events are chopping in, breaking up, challenging our sustainability. And I'll just briefly say a couple of things. On the left, no, on my right is an impact of extreme weather. Here's a group of poor people who are being flooded and are racing somewhere for safety. On the far
right,
on my far left is that's the roller coaster off the coast of, that's now in the ocean of New Jersey, and and so that's the roller coaster. I think of those as two practical point impacts. Okay, in the center is an attempt of mine to be more symbolic. And I thought, what would be the most fundamental image of extreme weather? And that would be a pole with a weather vane on the top, and the weather vane just blown away, and that's what we have there. So now, have I answered your question? And
Nope. Do you have pieces of some of the future elements in this series floating in your head already?
yes, yes.
And do you work on one major painting at a time, or do you work on two or three simultaneously and make progress on them depending on how you feel?
I basically concentrate intensely on one, but at the same time, I'm also thinking, interviewing people, and planning the next one or two paintings. I do have an overview of where this is going, but you know, I'm still researching, and I'm encouraging members of the state, the counties, the cities, you, engineering and energy experts and others to give me inputs on what they think I should paint. Even the major suppliers of solutions that want to be part of this great transition that is just starting. You know, the transition from the fossil fuel economy to the cleaner economy. I get calls, and I encourage more calls from the supplier community asking me what I'm going to paint, and if I recognize areas that they think are important. And I tend to think California's climate plan, this is the state's plan, not mine, California's climate plan is the most promising branding opportunity for every corporation, company that wants to play a role in helping all of us make that major migration from the fossil fuel economy to the cleaner economy.
Just an interesting example of that potential probable transition. A California State Assemblyman who represents part of the city of San Francisco is probably going to introduce a bill that says the state of California will not issue vehicle licenses to vehicles that burn fossil fuel starting in the year 2040.
Wow.
So that's 22 years from now, but of course, who knows what will happen to the legislation, but it's a really interesting pebble in the pond that might create ripples within the state, elsewhere.
Yes.
Let me brag for a moment. My wife and I have an electric car.
Yes.
And my wife is the one who gets to drive it most of the time. And I have an electric bicycle, so we're very proud of the clean way that we propel ourselves around locally.
And I know you have embarrassed me a few times asking me when am I going to trade in my two Priuses, which get 40 miles per gallon, and get myself an electric car. I will be getting an electric car in the relatively near future.
And then you can paint it for us.
Yeah, yes, I will probably paint California's influence in trying to expand, promote, and build the economy for electric vehicles coming out of this state. I will probably do that, and I will put that in a larger context of land planning, you know, cities and everything, and transportation.
So here's an idea that you can figure out how to possibly to include. The state of California has made some very interesting alliances with other states and other countries. Got any ideas about how something like that could show up in the painting?
Well, I think, yes, I have seen that California has announced alliances. I think on the day Donald Trump announced that he wanted us to pull out of the Paris Climate Accord, I believe California, Massachusetts, and Washington announced an alliance with California, a climate change alliance, and I think it's now up to 13 states have joined in. Now, it's hard for the public, it's hard for the states, the state and the states to get the message out that they feel so strongly about climate change that they form this alliance. What I think you know I have done, I have gotten the images, the blank, naked images of every one of the states that have formed various alliances with California. And I'm thinking now about making a painting that shows the states, how they've aligned with California. And I'm trying to also think of, when I put them all together, it might be some image, image that also comes to mind. And I'm also thinking of making it in such a way that when people see the painting, not only will it stick in their head what states really are concerned with climate change, but maybe so that viewers can say, oh, there's my state, there's my state, there's my state, and there's those that are left behind.
Cool. Well, I'm looking forward to getting a call at 4 o'clock in the morning saying, aha, just got an idea, Jeb. So a few hours later, I'll show up in your studio and you'll have some approximate suggestion of how it might be painted, and then it will slowly emerge from the canvas or the digital tools that you might use for designing.
Okay, so now needless to say, this is a fairly big project, okay? And I chuckle all the competition. It's hard, I don't want to, it's hard to find competition, because you got to really understand the plan. You have to have some other background. But this is a big undertaking, and I have been spending weeks now trying to understand software, computer software, that can help me make better paintings faster. So I'm investing in tools, and I'm a firm believer as we move forward, as our civilization moves forward, he who has the best tools, besides the best ideas and best methodologies, wins out in the end. So I'm investing in tools, and the tool I'm focused on most is one from
New Zealand or Tasmania.
Tasmania,
I think. Is that the one
and it's called Procreate.
Procreate.
It's a small software company, and I'm told by people closer to the software than me, it's if you go in Apple Store and you ask about software for making art, they first present you with Procreate. And I want to applaud you. You grasp the technology.
Well, I used to work at Apple, and I very much enjoy trying to amplify my own limited skills, and to the extent that they can support you, I want to support you too.
So I greatly appreciate that you are ahead of me in learning the software, and that you make a major effort to help educate me and get me moving along. And well,
I just got an idea. Using some of these tools, you can get part way through a painting and save it and invite kids around the world to finish it in their own individual way. You could provide some basic structure of symbols and arrangement, and kids could take that and build on it and share the results on the web.
I like that idea very much, and I think my two granddaughters, I brought them in and I've challenged them to help me out with several of my paintings. And if any visitors, you bring your grandson over, you can bring the other one over too. I always want the children to step up and improve my paintings.
Well, the last time I brought my grandson, it took a week of laundry to get all the paint off of that he put on himself and his clothes. Just kidding, just kidding.
That's too bad. But yes, I would like to play a major role in designing at least one of these paintings, and then invite other artists and children in to implement and enrich the thinking, because I think it's important to involve people, not only involve them, but to learn from them, add their good ideas or their good work to my own.
Maybe we can get Jerry Brown to pick up a brush and participate in the creation.
Well, I would be honored. I would be greatly honored. I have a lot of respect for him. I think the state of California and the United States and beyond are fortunate that there is such a person who has such conviction, drive, and vision to want to be the leader of the United States in informing, persuading, and advancing the ideas that we all need to do something serious to reduce greenhouse gas emissions for ourselves and for the future, and also to create new opportunities, like the new automobile marketplace and renewable energy jobs. Oh, that's the other benefit that California can be proud of, creating jobs as a result of the implementation of California's climate plan. And I think that somebody is giving me a signal that we have exceeded our welcome on this. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank Jeb Eddy. He's in Palo Alto. He is not only an environmental activist, but he is also in charge of all the collateral material associated with this painting series. I'm Michael Killen. Thank you very much. So, Jeb, you surprised me.
Maybe I'll come back. How did you see? I didn't